stirring the coffee with chopsticks using the vortex method, the giant chopsticks of truth. The only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee at the molecular level. Good morning, welcome to the Daybreak Show. We'll get started, but first, coffee. This is Enforcement Coffee from enforcementcoffee.com. I already had a sip of it. It is magnificent. I'll put a link for it down below. Really nice. Really nice.
My God, that is the best coffee I've ever tasted. Nice.
Thank you, Carlos, for this. You know, I get a minimum of 10 guys a day, 7 days a week, for years now, pitching me on something that they think they can grow my business with. Like they want to do something with what I have here. And I listen to almost everyone. Some of them make videos, some of them send emails. And a lot of them are always asking, do you do cold emails? Do you do courses? Do you do this? I can do that for you. Literally 10 a day. It's been happening. I remember the first one happened back when I was doing exclusively men's grooming and beard, hair, and skin kind of videos. And there were people that wanted to help me with that. It's interesting. You learn a lot of lessons from people who want to do something for you for free versus the people who want to charge you something versus the people who want to give back to you after you help them versus the capitalists who just think that I'm a multimillionaire. It's all good. And it's been a good study in cold calling and emails. How people reach out to me. Very, very interesting. And people do all kinds of funny things to reach me. I posted yesterday, there was the 20-year-old young man making $150,000 a year cleaning people's barbecue grills. I'm looking at a barbecue grill right now out of my deck. I clean it maybe once or twice a year. Do power wash it and scrub it, whatever, with a wire brush, this kind of thing. But I use it often. But it's not in, let me put it this way. I would never tolerate my indoor stove to look like the outdoor grill. I use the outdoor grill a lot, almost daily. And I have the cooktop on it so I can put a frying pan or a pot on it. Last time I did my, I roast coffee every 2 weeks. I roasted the coffee out there on the grill. It was fantastic. But grills can get pretty gnarly. Here's a dude cleaning them. I'll put a link for it down below. It's at entrepreneur.com. So I won't try to describe it, but $150,000 a year cleaning barbecue grills. Dude's going to get stacked. I wonder if he's jacked and biohacked. So useless to ask me why, throw a kiss and say goodbye. I'll make it this time. I'm ready to cross that fine line. Steely Dan, 1976. Name that song and put it down below. Well, we know that you can't get enough of us at Fire Your Boss, so we've created the first annual Fire Your Boss Summit, which is going to be the first week of February, and Jonesy is putting that together now. And if you go to fireyourbosssummit.com, you'll see. And if you are someone who has a business, you followed your heart, you developed your side hustle, then you might be qualified to be a speaker at the Fire Your Boss Summit. So if you'd like to be a speaker at the summit, it's a virtual summit. It's not a conference that you attend. You attend it online. It'll be in February. If you want to be a speaker, let me know. Go to fireyourbosssummit.com. I drank alcohol for 56 years, never a problem. DUI, never an alcoholic. I just wanted to try to be alcohol free for 30 days, and I've done it. So what happened in the past 30 days? Nothing. I don't feel better. I don't feel worse. I don't miss it. I have more money in my pocket, and I know that not using it is a positive thing. So can I do another 30 days? Of course. 3 or 4 people that I know who stopped using alcohol have become more successful and more clear since they stopped. Even those that didn't use it a lot, like myself. They're not problem drinkers, but they wanted to optimize their productivity. And part of that included their income and net worth. So is there a direct connection? Possibly. Hey, guys that are out there dating, how about it when the woman's profile starts out with, I am a God-fearing woman? What does that tell you? She's already going to be a handful. That's like her warning. She's like waving the red flag by saying that. I'm a God-fearing woman. Okay. For now, or finally, or after all these years. And then when you find out her past, I guess she wasn't so God-fearing, was she? If she's a God-fearing woman, you better be a herpes-fearing man. And no matter how good she looks, there's a man somewhere who's tired of her shit. So never invite his problem to be your problem. You would think that would be common sense, but as I've always said, isn't common sense really uncommon these days? Most women lose good men because of bad advice from their toxic friends, their jealous friends, their lonely friends, and their mothers. Especially if you are dating a woman or married to a woman whose mother is divorced. Believe me, your wife or girlfriend has a little cheerleader on the side, and she ain't cheering for you.
Wake the fuck up.
No puska is worth ruining your life. There's nothing masculine about letting a woman break you down and make you doubt the reason to live. If a woman rejects or betrays you, you need to walk away. Sir, learn or perish. And a man never forgets when a woman disrespects him. It's either buried deep in his heart, where he kind of pushed it down, where he's ignoring it, but it's never forgotten. A man never forgets when a woman disrespects him, ever. So the American dream now costs at least $3.4 million. And this is the way, and this is why I teach the way that I do, to make money a priority. Not the love of money, but make money a priority. The American dream now, getting married, getting a modest little beginner house, having a family, a couple kids, literally just normal life, normal American life now cost at least $3.4 million. And you wonder why I talk about money sometimes. To the 14,000 ladies that follow here, there's about 14,000 women. It's a very small amount. If your man doesn't want you to drink, if your man doesn't want you to go to parties or party, if your man doesn't want you to go to clubs, if he doesn't want you to have a girls' night out or go on a girl vacation, have male friends, wear provocative clothing, guess what? You have a man who cares. I had a woman who loved going on girl vacations before I met her, did a lot of girl vacations, traveled the world, and traveled for business. I learned my lesson. There was no way she could be controlled. She was absolutely 100% feral. It's like taking a wild animal in and trying to domesticate it. It can't be done. Can't be done. The minute you tell them you don't want them going on a girl vacation, or you're not crazy about the business travel, or traveling with the male coworkers, all of a sudden you're the bad guy. Learn that shit right from the get. Now there's a shirt. Learn the shit right from the get. A lot of guys have been on their period here. I don't know what the hell the matter is. Definitely not kings. Past week, the critics have been coming out of the woodwork, which I don't care. It only makes me stronger. Thank you very much. I've been playing Whack-A-Simp all week. It's interesting. I am building a community of like-minded men here, teaching about life, not bitching about life. You know, men create a crisis, then they act like a victim when crap hits the fan. So this dude, I have no idea what or who he is, hires this personal trainer for his wife to get his wife into shape. As Mr. T would say, I predict pain. So what did you do today, honey? He helped me with my squats all day. Yeah, Okay. No man should ever come to a phase in his life when he needs to beg, manipulate, or guilt his wife into being intimate with him. There will be no begging. You know, it's interesting when a couple should freely give themselves to one another. Whenever there is any kind of withholding, you know there's going to be trouble. There will be trouble. And there will be no trouble. Never, ever beg, manipulate, or guilt your wife to be intimate with you. And then all of a sudden you start sleeping in the spare bedroom or the basement or on the couch. Good job, sir. Guy says to me, I haven't had sex in 3 years. And I basically replied, well, that doesn't mean she hasn't had sex in 3 years. Men are so stupid sometimes, you know? And as a coach who's worked with, I've been working with men for decades. Decades. I don't even use a counter anymore. I don't even count. Now I count the decades. I used to say I've been working with men for 5 years. I've been working with men for 40 years. I'm counting the decades now. And all men fall into only a few categories. And I know guys like this. Me and my wife haven't had sex in 3 years, 5 years. You didn't have sex. Or the last time you had sex, bro, you were by yourself. Or she's by herself in the shower. I am going to be conducting a mastermind group for men only. No distractions, no women. No distractions. Women equal distractions. It's going to be limited to a handful of men. This is not a manosphere conference. It's going to be held at a top-name beachfront hotel in Melbourne, Florida. A super intensive one-day group that meets 3 times a year. And I want to do the first one before the year ends, if at all possible. I don't want to cut any corners. Hardcore problem solving. It's going to be consistent with my philosophy that all men need to be jacked, stacked, and biohacked. Get your body, your wealth, and brain in gear, or at least start the process. And create the foundation to be the best version of yourself. I will facilitate the group in a boardroom type setting. By the end of the day, you will establish hardcore deadlines, accountability, and be held accountable for realistic goals for the next time that we all meet 4 months later. It will end with a steak dinner at that night. You will have time to be on the beach in the afternoon for a couple hours, or just take a nap or whatever you want to do. Get the best Florida sunshine and be inspired to action. And I'm working on a simple price structure that just covers the cost of the boardroom, the coffee, the meal, etc., and reasonable compensation for my time and expenses. So if you think this is for you, email me, let me know. I put my email in the description of every video. And there is an international airport 15 to 20 minutes away, and another one a little over an hour away. Very, very easy to get to. But if that's something that you want to be part of, this is not a manosphere conference. This is a group, a mastermind group for men who want to build their bodies, their business, and their brain. Do you want to be an official sponsor of the Daybreak Show? Well, you get a couple shout outs and you'll get a commercial that I read or something that you provide, 30 to 60 seconds. Or if your product or service can be integrated into the video, then let's do it. Not unlike Alpha M. For instance, you created a pillow that creates a great night's sleep, then I do a vid on the top 3 pillows, and then I put a link for yours. You have a piece of exercise equipment, I review it on video and work out with it for a couple weeks to demonstrate the before and after. Simple pricing, $1,000 for show sponsorship, and if you can create an affiliate link for me, all the better. Would you like to sponsor a Daybreak Show? People who have sponsored the Daybreak Show have done well. At one of my contract gigs, the women are so unattractive, contentious, and masculine. 100% of the workplace drama comes from these women. And the men are intimidated and act like simps to the point when I've said, why aren't you saying anything about this? I've actually said that to a guy or two. And they reply, well, I don't want to get caught in the crossfire. Seriously? Men saying that? They don't want to get caught in the crossfire? of women. One gal around my age, she wears a dress or a skirt daily, very low heels like pumps, black leggings, never revealing anything, no cleavage, super simple makeup, very easy care hairstyle. Very simple. But she's like Miss America compared to the rest. Literally, out of 100 women, she stands out because she's feminine, not feminist. She's not sexy or enticing, but feminine. She shouldn't be catching my eye, but she does, for one thing. She's feminine. Women email me privately, daily, and have been for at least 7 years now, about how they can't find a man. And my response is consistent. Amp up your femininity, not your sexiness. Some people just don't get it. I see a woman on Instagram. She emails me, I can't find a man. Can you help? What's going on? What's happening in society today? And I look at her Instagram and all I see is T and A. T and A. Look it up if you don't know what that is. And I said, you know what? You're appealing to the wrong thing in men. You have nothing but orbiters. You don't have anyone who takes you seriously. And I will tell you this. All social media is a dating site. All social media. LinkedIn, dating site. It's just a dorky business dating site. It's just a dating site with a shirt and tie. Let's get real. Facebook, dating site. Instagram, dating site. The workplace, a dating site.
Wake the fuck up.
Men only want sexy to play with, but they want feminine to marry or to be in a long-term relationship. I will tell you this, women change the dynamics of everything. The workplace, businesses, teams, churches, Bible studies, coaching groups, meetups, everything. The dynamics always change when a woman enters the room. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying it's good. But I am saying this, the dynamics changed. Without women, now think about this. I'm having a men-only mastermind group. No women. Without women, there's no distractions. There's no drama. Shit gets done. Beta males and male feminists learn to operate more efficiently because they have men guide them. I firmly believe that men should teach and coach men and women should work only with women. Women should not be coaching men and men should not be coaching women. Shouldn't be happening. I have less trust for women that counsel and coach men and for the men who get coached by them. A woman's touch is appreciated around the home, always, but not in the workplace or in business. I know very few women who can pull this off without some trace of feminism or an attempt to even the score, which basically makes all organizations terminally ill. Stop telling women that they're beautiful. That's simping. That's you passively, aggressively trying to turn a cold lead into a warm lead. And of course, you know, a woman's main agency is her sexuality and attractiveness. And by calling a woman beautiful, you are playing into it. Attention is the currency that all women use. Your mother, sister, daughter, female co-workers are all included. A woman's biggest fear is being unattractive. They do more to attract a man than to keep a man. I'll say that again. A woman does more today to attract a man than to keep a man. A man's biggest fear is being broke, and a woman's biggest apprehension is a broke man, unless he's just a boy, which of course circles back to her being an attention seeker. Women fear you leaving her for a younger woman, for a woman who's half plus 7. Half your age plus 7 years. Been there, done that. Men fear her leaving him for a more wealthy guy. The guys that I know, the guys who have pretty much unplugged from the bullshit, if she wants to go, here's my advice. If she wants to go, give her what she wants and never look back. It needs to be asses and elbows. That's an old term back from my day, which means all you see is the backside. If she wants to go out with girls on a girls' night out or a girls' vacation, it's asses and elbows of you. All she sees is your ass and elbows walking away. Or, as country music songs would say, tail lights and license plates. Sir, if you unplug from this crazy-ass matrix, then you make yourself immune to it. Poon has no power over you. She'll just flit along like a little bee to the next flower. 80 to 90% of women are not worthy of wifehood. Queens don't exist without a king, and self-proclaimed queens are delusional. You know, the Yas queens, they're delusional because they know Poon has power. But you, sir, are not to be powerless over it. You are not Johnny Appleseed either. If she doesn't want to be a wife for the right reasons, then you need to move along next her. When I look at women today, they want to be mothers more than they want to be wives. They want a wedding, but not a marriage. And I don't know if there's any women watching this right now, or still watching this right now. Ladies, regularly send your man an alluring pic of you. Women who don't send their man an alluring pic, selfie, don't understand men. Men are visual. Men are visual. I didn't say sexual. I didn't say send a sexy pic. Although you could, if you wanted to. But I say an alluring, attractive, enticing pic. The reason, get him to think about you before he gets home or comes to your place. And your man wants you to do that. Not just hold the camera out and smile, but a nice alluring pic. He wants you to do that, but he's probably not going to ask you to do it. In response to the simps that think that I'm negative, which I'm not, if you know me personally, you know me to be the most positive human being and most encouraging and optimistic human being you've ever known, if you know me personally. If I've ever called you, if I ever met with you, if you ever saw me out in public, you know that I'm 100% pro you. Instead, all these Captain Save-A-Hoes, all you do is bash women. No, I don't. No, I don't. I save men's lives from the bullshit that comes from women and feminism and the bullshit in society today. I have a former policeman, I have a retired police officer who says, I attended over 50 male suicides during my police career, and all but a handful were the result of a broken relationship with a woman. Women do not delete themselves when they get divorced. Many men do. I don't know why that is. That's why I teach men, leave your emotions out of it. Save your emotions for births and deaths. Emotions can be your enemy, and sentimentalism is a trap. But do you really have to hear it from a police officer who showed up at the scene of many men's suicides and looked at the note that was left behind? Can you imagine that? No puska is worth ruining your life, gentlemen. Seriously. Here's a great picture of me. So there I was. I had Putin on one side and President Xi on the other. That was a fun day for me. I had a friend who was a vice president at a hospital where I was a supervisor, and we'd always catch lunch or go sit outside with our bag lunch. Whenever he'd see a woman with a few extra pounds, he'd say, look, it's Odessa. This was like a routine that we had. And I would reply, who's Odessa? Then he would say, Odessa big ass. And then we'd both laugh. Didn't matter. We're walking in the cafeteria at the hospital. Oh, look, it's Odessa. And I'd say, Odessa who? Odessa big ass. Two clean-cut adult men, white shirts, ties, polished shoes, looking like executives and joking like teenagers. Never let the shirt and tie fool you. Guys are going to be guys no matter what. A man knows within 1 month if he wants to marry the woman he's dating. Even though it takes 2 months to 4 years for crazy to come out, or stupid, or betrayal to come out, men start thinking about permanence almost right away. When you're young, you want beauty. When you're older, you want youthful beauty. When you're much older, you want peace. And men settle where they have peace. It's interesting when you look at that kind of like evolution. Men settle where they have peace. And there's a point where it doesn't matter if beauty plays a role in it or not. When you're young, you want the beauty. When you're old, you want peace. And beauty and peace don't always go together. They can, but they usually don't. I was listening to an entrepreneur that I know this week. I went to my mastermind this week. He said going from zero money to 1.5 million is harder to achieve than going from 1.5 million to 3 million. Interesting, right? First million is always the hardest. After that, literally, you're duplicating your efforts. It's kind of like wash, rinse, and repeat. One person said to me, we were talking about income and systems, and they said they went from making 100,000. This was a coach. They went from making 100,000 a year to making over $1 million. It was like 1.1 million. And I said, well, what happened? What did you do differently to kind of 10x your income? Literally, they said, it wasn't about working 10 times harder. It was about the systems that I had in place. And I know I fall apart when someone says to me, so what systems do you have in place? I start stuttering because I'm not real good with systems, and it's something that I'm starting to learn. So think about that. What systems do you have in place? It's not just about working your ass off and working 16 hours a day. So I found out a guy in my mastermind group killed himself. I always go into what the fuck mode when I hear stuff like this. The first thing I think is money or women problems, and if there's both, the man might need a little bit of intervention. Who knows? Maybe meeting him for a cup of coffee or a workout or a walk would have been sufficient. Men do shit like this when they're isolated and lose hope. That is why when I work with men, I always do a mental health screening in the beginning to make sure I'm not dealing with someone who's ready to put the gun to their head. I just want to let you know, my brother, sir, you are not alone. You must reach out if you have to talk. People aren't mind readers, as your mother used to say, and that darkness and despair that you feel is temporary. Believe me, the despair passes, but when you are in the midst of it, it certainly doesn't feel like it, does it? And for you above average Joes out there, don't be afraid to check in on a brother. Just call him. Knock on his door. Hey, what's going on, man? I know you went through a rough time. Dudes that are going through a hard time, you need to ask them, how you doing, man? Just checking in on you. Do that. And then shut your mouth and listen to him. Because you, just listening to him, can save his life. Don't forget the Fire Your Boss Summit that I was talking about. We finished recording 29 episodes, and we're going to be wrapping up on in the next week or so with the 30th episode, a virtual conference. And if you want to speak at it, let me know. Fire Your Boss was an idea that I came up with for a podcast to help men say goodbye to full-time employment forever. A husband in, I don't know how to say this word, Cheredzee, I have no idea, has discovered that the pastor who officiated his wedding is the father of his 2 children. Well, that's interesting. Praise the Lord and pass the lube. Can't make that stuff up, can you? How she feels about her father is the way she will eventually feel about all men. If a woman despises her father, she will eventually despise you. Never forget that. Always, 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 always ask a woman or find out how things were for her when she was growing up, what her relationship with her father was like. Great question would be like, so what was it like? What was it like to be Sherry when you were growing up? What was it like being Susan when you were growing up? And then shut up and just listen and just let her talk. Well, my mother, she struggled with prescription pills, and my dad was an alcoholic, and he beat my mother. It's like, okay, that's a fast first date. I can tell you right there. Ask a question and shut up and let her talk. First, they hire you for what you do. Then they hire you because of who you know. Then they hire you because of who you are. Then finally, you become the one who does the hiring. That's the hierarchy of work. Here's something interesting that I have observed over the years. When men better themselves, they usually encourage and inspire their wife to follow along. When women better themselves, they end the marriage and leave their husband. Interesting, right? I know a guy that said, I asked her out 21 times before she became my wife. Yeah, bro, that marriage definitely is not what stable masculine men want. She's wearing the pants and the dude is going to crumble like a dry cookie when he finds out she's getting planked by the personal trainer that he hired for her. How come this guy can't see what was so obvious to me? Because he has blind spots. Every man has a blind spot. My thoughts are he should have walked after the first or second time she blew him off, rejected him, or said she has other plans. He was an orbiter. He orbited around her, asked her out 21 times while she was tasting all the ice cream in the store. He must be so proud of himself. He cured that garden tool of her ways, which I think is disgusting. She got her way, and he just waited while she got everything that she wanted. Any fans of Curb Your Enthusiasm here? I think it's funny. I'm not a regular watcher of it, but the Leon Black character on Curb, do you think he's funny? When I watched like some videos, like the best of Leon Black, I guess that's his name, right? Leon Black. I'm laughing out loud, man. Watching like the best of Leon Black is so funny. It's a great character. The first big lie that all women will tell you is, guess what? What do you think? What is the first big lie that a woman will tell you? I can tell you right now. Has to do with the number of men they've been with. Women are quite aware of why body count is important. Why do you think they lie about it? Here's a trick question for you. You know who bangs more married women and other men's girlfriends? I know his name. His name is Just a Friend. Have you ever been somebody's just a friend? Pretty girl privilege can get a woman a very nice, fun life. Handsome man privilege can get a guy a nice night. You are not depressed, you are discouraged, sir. What's the antidote? Courage. You do what scares the shit out of you, then magically, guess what? You get courage. Women overbook themselves to avoid being alone. Men underbook themselves so they can be alone. If you ask a woman to do something and there's not genuine desire, and they say something like, well, I have plans for today or plans for tonight. Sir, if she does that, you need to next her. Okay, so there's legit plans. There's legit plans. Okay, I get that. Once, okay. Twice, sorry. If she really wants to be with you, and she makes excuses to be with the guy who she really wants to be with, sir, you are not her second choice or plan B or C. You ask her to do nothing. You never ask her to do anything ever again. When will you realize that a woman will rearrange her schedule if she really wants to be with you? Bro, you just got breadcrumbed and disrespected, whether you know it or not. If she says no, then you go to the gym or you start looking for another woman, especially if you're looking for a wife or a long-term relationship. She can play that game with her orbiters, but she's not going to play it with you. Men don't get the love of their life until they become successful, and love is a luxury that broke men just will never understand. And then there's the guy who wrote an ebook on how to teach your parrot to talk. Set up a website. That course sells for $79.95. It's been making several $100,000 a year for several years now. Go ahead, quickly apply palm to forehead. The power of automation. And there are some people with several products that sell year after year after year after year. Why can't you be one of them? I'm a guy that went his own way, and I actually like women, but my world doesn't revolve around them or bitching about them. My world revolves around helping men. You just need personal boundaries that you adhere to. Going your own way doesn't mean being a bitter a-hole and trolling live chats of other men. That's not MGTOW. That's just being an ass. Big difference. Half the guys that call themselves MGTOW, half the guys that say that they went their own way were actually sent their own way by a woman. And then the rest of their life revolves around women. You know what my life revolves around? Me and my choices. And hopefully they're good choices. There's interesting. Men are refusing to give life-saving CPR to a woman because they're afraid of touching their breasts. I know guys that won't even get into an elevator with a woman because they want to avoid false allegations. And this is where we've come with all this bullshit. Women got exactly what they wanted. Wait till SHTF. It's not going to be women and children first, probably just children, most likely. Wait till women are sent to the front lines. We'll see how long feminism lasts then. And finally, a woman's test of loyalty is tested when her man is unsuccessful. A man's test of loyalty is tested when he is successful. And with that, finish your coffee, and I'll see you on the next Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.